good morning. My name is Richard, and I'm with the Orange County Library System. We are currently here at the Washington Park Library in Orlando, Florida, capturing memories from our community. Please tell us your name and where you're from.
Sure, my name is Devin Heflin, and I'm from the Orlando area.
Excellent, nice to have you. We're actually here the day after Valentine's Day, the 15th of February 2012, and Mr. Heflin here is here to tell us his Orlando memories and experiences of Orlando. So where would you like to begin?
Sure, I'd like to begin just with something I was studying, and kind of a place that I traveled as a kid. I remember riding along the bike trail as a kid, riding across the bridge, and it reminds me of something very interesting, and it showed me something very interesting, especially as it pertains to history, black history in this area. You know, it's akin to building a bridge. If you notice, sometimes at the beginning of a bridge, like this particular bridge I was riding on, I think I was about 8 years old that day. At the beginning of the bridge, it was dingy, rusty, and a lot of the beginnings of it were pale. But I saw at the end of the bridge, as I kept riding, that it was new, that it was improved, and that it wasn't dilapidated at all, and it was actually smooth to ride on. And sometimes that's like life, and that's like history. Sometimes the past may be a little murky and may be a little muddy, but then the ending is always rosy and always sunny. So the bridge that was built before you is in fact prepared for you and showing you everything that you can achieve. I'm a native to the area. I went away for a bit and did some time in the UK by way of Australia, Melbourne, Sydney, and Cairns, all three of those areas. But I'm back, and I just enjoy reporting in the area. I enjoy reporting about the happenings in the area.
Now, you mentioned you did some traveling, and it makes me wonder what brought you back to Orlando, considering all those wonderful places you did visit.
Sure. Well, primarily it was two reasons. Number one, family, and then number two, faith. I also act in a capacity in terms of ministry by way of Sanford, Florida, currently, and things, and family as well.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about your ministry and what you do here in Orlando?
Sure. I was a youth pastor over at St. John Missionary Baptist Church of Orlando for 3 years, and currently I'm acting as an interim over in St. John Missionary Baptist Church out in Sanford. So two different St. John's, same name, but different city at this point. And things. So I just felt a calling and felt that it was time to make the move. And sometimes you can plan to make a certain move at a certain point, but when it's a time, or whether it's fated or divine, you've got to be able to make your move. So I just went ahead and made it, and I'm continuing to make moves.
Where do you currently work?
Sure, I currently work for the Orlando Times newspaper, and I've been acting in that capacity for 4 years. As a feature writer, I primarily cover community features, investigative, and the occasional column whenever the experience. And also, I can't forget business profiles. Just, obviously my background as a writer and as a reporter is kind of what empowers me to continue to research and continue to study. So just coming to the library and always seeing that there are thousands of stories here to draw from is kind of one of my earliest memories.
It must be some experience because you yourself will have all these wonderful Orlando memories and people approaching you. Do you have any that stands out of the stories you've done of your own for the Orlando community?
Sure, definitely. Primarily, I can remember I had the opportunity twice to interview the Reverend Jackson when he came to the area by way of New Covenant Baptist Church of Orlando and things. And just being able to meet him, he's a lot taller in person. And just being able to meet him and speak with him and being able to converse with a piece of history is always what's paramount to me. And I have many other examples. Like, for example, last week I just spoke with one of the first Tuskegee Airmen, and this was a week after I saw the film Red Tails.
Sure.
So I would say it's very interesting to be able to talk to history. And what we're fortunate to have in Orlando as well as Central Florida is there's so much history that's resurging through the area. And if you just walk down the street, you'll see history. You'll see a street, or you'll see a monument, or you'll see a building that maybe was once an activist center. Like, this building could have been an activist center for all we know, but now it's a place that enlightens and educates and has resources. So it's still an activism center, but on an entirely different level.
Speaking about activism or
Sure.
ministry work, do you do any yourself?
Yes, I currently do a lot of my activism by way of the church right now, and as you and I both know, that at the beginning of the civil rights movement, that was where the movement began, was in the church, specifically the old Black Baptist Church and things. I did 3 years over at St. John Missionary Baptist Church in Orlando, serving in the capacity as youth pastor. And now I'm over doing an interim out in Sanford, Florida, and things. And it was just time for a move. You know, people always ask, that's always one of the greatest questions. Well, why did you leave? Why did you go if things were so well? And I was like, it's just time for the move. You know, whether it's divine or fated, sometimes when you got to move, you got to move. So I'm in a good place right now, but maybe if I get the signal to move again, it will be a time to move. But there's always a plan with the moves.
That's very exciting.
Actually, primarily a lot of my family were actually transplants to the area,
Okay.
coming from Ocala, from Thomasville, Georgia, from Valdosta, from even Alabama and Buffalo, New York. So actually, my generation and the generation before me are some of the first generations that actually grew up in the area and grew up in Central Florida, not just Orlando, but Sanford, Eustis, all of them in the different areas.
What aspirations do you have to continue in your life?
My main aspirations are everything that I do is based on and rooted in helping people.
Sure.
You know, and for some reason, I originally had I would say it was an influence to attend law school previously. You know, and I wanted to go to law school and be this lawyer and be this corporate attorney, but there was just a calling in me to, you know, attain research, and I always enjoyed researching and learning about people, and that was really the foundation that pushed me into becoming a reporter a lot sooner, you know, than I should have. And I've been a reporter since I was about 17 at this point, so I'm of age right now. Won't reveal my age, but I've been working in that capacity, and that's what's really kept me, and that's what continues to keep, and that's what I hope will continue to keep me on the path of wanting to do. And I just basically see myself going farther in the media at this point, because I'm confident in where the industry is going. You know, one of the greatest things I'll get is when I tell people I'm a journalist, and it's like a death sentence, especially in the print industry. People say, "You're part of a dying media," and I was like, "No, it's not a dying media. It's an evolving media. In this world, you either evolve or you disappear. We both know." So that's the same with history. That's the same with any activism or any movement. So I see a lot of growth in the industry. Where a lot of people see death, I see growth and things, and I see a lot of bridges that still need to be built. You know, it reminds me of the old Negro spiritual, one more river to cross. So we have plenty of rivers to continue to cross and make strides and make achievements.
How do you feel about Barack Obama? Did you have a chance to see him when he came to Orlando here?
Yes, actually, I saw him back in 2008 when I had to go report at the annual National Urban League conference when it came to the area by way of Disney out there and things. And I saw him back when he was then Senator Obama. And I've got a funny euphemism about that story as well. I was part of the little foray in the little crowd that was there. I was kind of standing on the end, and there were a few other young ladies kind of standing on chairs and things, and I kind of caught an elbow to the eye attempting to see the president. So I always said, when I get the chance to meet President Obama, I'll say, "Mr. President, I took an elbow to the eye for you." So, definitely. But he was actually walking as he was shaking hands. After he finished his speech, he and Mark Morial, who's obviously the president of the National Urban League, they were walking, and I said, "Mr. Obama," and he looked my way, and then suddenly I caught an elbow right to the eye, and I'm like, "Oh man!" So I was kind of blacked out and seeing stars for a bit. I saw a star and I saw stars, if I could say that. Things, and that was one of the things that I mentioned when I was able to. It was mid-2009 when I interviewed his trade representative, Ambassador Ron Kirk, and things, and I told him that funny story, and he kind of laughed for a little while. He had to put me on hold. He was laughing so hard when I told him. I was like, I caught an elbow to the eye for your administration. So you got to make sure you talk to me. But that's one of the great things. But in regards to the 2012 elections, I'm a little concerned about the political climate, and I mean that by way of a lot of the speech that's going on. And a lot of people will say, "Well, there's no rhetoric, there's no discourse," but there's plenty. And the seeds are there. And it's like thoughts become actions, and words become things, and words become motives. So I think it's paramount and it's imperative that we watch a lot of the things that we say, in this political season and things. I wouldn't advocate either Democrat or Republican, but what I would say is I think it's important for both sides to watch what they say and watch how they communicate, because aside from political differences, it shouldn't be taken personally. So that's mainly what I was saying. I'm seeing a lot of that, particularly in the GOP presidential campaigns. You know, not to criticize any of the candidates. I don't believe in excess criticism, but what I would say is understand for the candidates, understand things that work well in theory, but not as well in practice. You know, everybody wants to either be a conservative or be a liberal, but people forget that people are people, and that not everything can be this die-hard, blowhard method of exacting the world. That some things are able to be compromised, and you're able to compromise on while still standing on your principles. So that's one thing I would say to both the Democratic and the Republican parties, that there are some things that you can compromise on while still standing on principles.